We got part two of the 2022 redraft here on the call up. Aram and Jack McMullen. I'm excited because one, we thought we would be able to get this all in one episode. Realized very quickly we would not be able to because there's so many fun players in this class to revisit, and that's exactly what we have done. And there's still a lot of players left here that are very fascinating, and I would say varying from young big leaguers to still prospects. And I think the later we're going to get in this, it's going to be even more of a unique opportunity to, maybe pick some of your almost breakout guys for this coming season. Because I think that's going to kind of be part of it.
Yeah, we were in the Cam Schlittler versus Cade Horton waters in part one. In part two, I think we're going to end up in the Jacob Reimer versus Chase Mydroth waters, which is going to be fun. Not as sexy by any stretch, but you know what? For the prospect heads out there, and obviously you're listening to the show, if you are one, I feel like that is going to be a kind of fun one. Chase Mydroth has succeeded at the major league level already. Is that success loud enough to take over a top 100 prospect in baseball? I have no idea. So this is, I feel like, where the prospect to sporadic big league success conversation comes in. Does Jordan Beck go over a prospect? Like Jordan Beck versus Demetrio Crisantes. Come on down in this episode.
Yeah, that part almost made me not excited for the episode because it's so stressful trying to figure that out. More excited even right now to get into the 2022 redraft. So we jump right into pick number 16.
We do jump into pick 16, but before that, I do want you to tell us about our friends at CGC because we're doing something fun with CGC right now, right? Over the holidays?
Yes, we're giving away a full year membership at CGC, which will get you discounted prices to get your cards graded. You'll actually get free submissions because you get a decent chunk of change going towards credit as well to be able to get those cards graded. And then for the full year, you get these special prices, quick turnaround times. And it's a no-brainer if you're a card collector because all you got to do, the link is in the episode description, follow CGC Cards, follow the Just Baseball Twitter, like and retweet it. And then if you want an extra entry, comment a card that you're hoping to get graded. You get $150 in grading credit and then $10 grading fees, which is way lower than generally you're going to be paying really anywhere else with quick turnaround times. And with PSA now creating a little bit of a monopoly here, CGC is the only other game in town, and they're doing a really good job of leveraging that with quick turnaround times and all that good stuff. So be sure to retweet the link in our episode description, reply for an extra entry, and you get $150 in grading credit and $10 grading fees with that CGC premium membership giveaway.
How darn cool is that? Maybe you pull a couple of guys that we're talking about in this redraft episode. Before we get into 16, I will run you through 1 through 15 again, just to tell you who's off the board. In our redraft of 2022, our revised number 1 pick was Roman Anthony. Number 2 was Zach Neto. 3 was Drake Baldwin. 4, Jacob Mizorowski. 5, Jackson Holliday. 6, Cam Schlittler. 7th was Cade Horton, his original spot. Jacob Marcy was 8th, Sal Stewart 9th, Robbie Snelling 10th. Chase DeLauder went 11th, Jonah Tong went 12th, Dylan Beavers 13th, Dalton Rushing 14th, and Jet Williams went 15th in our redraft. Jet Williams was the 14th pick originally. So those 15 names are off the board. The original 16th overall pick was Chase DeLauder, who went 12th in our redraft. So good pick by Cleveland. Where do you want to go here?
That I was going to put the ball in your court because I think we got a lot of similar type players here, right? Like you have in terms of value, I think they're all pretty close to each other here.
Our next clump of 5 is probably Noah Schultz, the left-handed pitching prospect for the White Sox, Chandler Simpson of the Tampa Bay Rays, Alex Freeland, who's turning into kind of a utility bat for the LA Dodgers. We'll see if he's an LA Dodger on opening day of 26. Justin Crawford, who Dave Dombrowski has signaled will get ample runway in the Phillies outfield of the major league level in 26. And then Cole Young, who seems like he's settling into the second base job in Seattle. So those are the 5 names that, we've kind of got power ranked there. I know on our board, we've got Noah Schultz at 16. I wouldn't go Schultz here, to be honest with you. But again, like there's bat bias. I immediately ditch Schultz and Simpson, and I want to pluck Freeland or Cole Young here.
So that was the thing. I was thinking about Simpson. The defense part kills me. The guy just she should just be better defensively, and it's so frustrating because he's such an elite athlete. But even last year, with some of the defensive woes, 44 bags, he hit 295. It's an 88 WRC plus, but he's still above replacement level player. And I think you're just hoping if the defense can just get to average, like he could be a really valuable piece. And I think they'll maybe stop running him out in center field as much, maybe put him in left, and he can play a little bit better defense there. Although he didn't really grade out very well in either spot, but he did grade out a bit better in left. I think if he was playing regularly in left, probably closer to a 2-WAR guy who could steal 60 plus bags, maybe 70 plus bags. Yeah. Is that enough, or do you want to gun for the upside of, a Freeland who can play shortstop and a hit for power is even though it was an ugly debut, he got put in kind of a tough spot. I mean, playing sporadically, all that good stuff. And even then, graded out well defensively. And I think that's the interesting part too, right? He played a really good second base. He can play third and he can play shortstop. So this is another player where if I were the Nationals, for example, let's say you had traded away CJ Abrams or whatever, I would love the opportunity to just plug Freeland in and see what he could do every day at shortstop. And then if he isn't good enough to be a primary shortstop, you have the parachute of, well, he could be, an everyday second baseman. And even if that isn't the case, then you have a utility infield piece without a doubt, who's also a switch hitter. So I think I do gravitate towards Freeland.
Now, do you gravitate towards Freeland over Cole Young? That's the other one.
That's the other one.
But Cole Young, to be honest, I remembered it to be a little bit better than it actually was.
Yeah.
This guy in 77 games had an 80 WRC plus and was a negative WAR player. He was in 77 games, negative 0.3 F WAR compared to Simpson, who in 109 games was 0.7. So we're looking at a net positive versus net negative player in their debuts. Now, obviously, promise comes into play with Cole Young, but I think I would lean Freeland over Cole Young at this point. And I guess looking at the page again, I would lean Simpson over Cole Young.
Yeah, because it was funny. And, I thought, and this was probably just a bad eval, and this why defense can be tough. I thought Cole Young would play better defensively. And it's funny because this is, again, where the eye test, you don't have it. I don't think really anyone has access unless you're with the team to advanced defensive metrics in the minor leagues. And even when I ask teams about it, they're like, yeah, honestly, we don't really even trust it that much. It's really hard, outs above average and that kind of stuff. And in the minor leagues is pretty spotty. He was positive in the defensive run save department, which generally means he's making all the plays that he should be making. He doesn't make any errors and boot things. But Young was brutal in outs above average because of his range. And so I guess that was a part that was kind of difficult to see in the video. And clearly is a limiting component to him. So it was one defensive run save, but negative 9 outs above average because of that lack of range. And so, I mean, if he's grading out as a slightly below average defender, there's even more pressure on the bat. I still think he progresses Young into a good defender. He's 22 years old still. And that's the other side of it. You have a player here that's, 2 years younger than Alex Freeland. But the fallback for Freeland is he's going to go play second base at a higher level and has less pressure to hit for high average because of the powers and the approach. So just looking at what Freeland did this year, I mean, even if you include the big league stint, 17% chase rate, the contact rates are fine, hard hit rate of 45%. Those are all things that don't matter in the PCL, right? The environment doesn't help you there. I think Freeland is the pick.
Okay. I'm team Alex Freeland as well. And that was a lot of deliberation, knowing that those guys are going to fall quickly after this at 16. But 16, we go Alex Freeland in a redraft of the Cleveland Guardians. Number 17, the original pick at 17 was Justin Crawford of the Philadelphia Phillies. It's a good pick. And I know that there are so many underlying batted ball data concerns here with Justin Crawford. He's literally never not figured out how to put the ball on the ground. But the numbers are the numbers, and the production has been excellent over the course of his minor league ascension. And Dave Dombrowski, again, reportedly feels really confident in running Justin Crawford out there a lot for the Phillies in 2026. He said the outfield is set at this point. They're not pursuing, a Luis Robert on the trade market. They're not pursuing a Harrison Bader, reuniting with the Philadelphia Phillies. They want Justin Crawford to play a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. I for the sake of having the same guy go in the same spot, I could entertain Crawford, but like this feels like where a Chandler Simpson or a Cole Young should fall.
Well, here's the tough part though, is because Crawford's defense should be a little bit better than it is too, but he's definitely a better defender than Simpson. So
do you think he can do that? Right.
It becomes more of a question of what do Simpson's, or like, how do you think the warts on Crawford's offensive profile, but still so much more ceiling offensively than Simpson because he hits the ball harder? Like, I think lean towards Crawford because at least Crawford, you have the floor because of the glove, but you also have way more ceiling, right? He's 6'3", 185 pounds, and an EV90 or a hard hit rate, I should say, is 45%.
Yeah. Here's what I want to shout out. In 2023, this guy played 87 minor league games, a 132 WRC plus, a 70% ground ball rate in 2023. In 2024, between high A and double A, this guy had a 61% ground ball rate, but in 110 games had a 131 WRC plus. And in 2025, this guy had a 60% ground ball rate, 59% ground ball rate, but in 112 games in AAA was a 135 WRC plus. Those numbers shouldn't match the way they do. Those numbers do not belong in the same sentence, but when he is consistently producing at a WRC plus over 130, being one of the youngest guys at every level he's been at, even with a 70% ground ball rate in 2023, at some point, like, you got to do the Tim Anderson thing and say, screw the numbers for a minute. Like, let's just kind of appreciate that this cat's hitting 300 and playing good defense, and give it a shot. It's not, I guess, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, well, now if I can interest you in some small sample size theater here, we had a 20-game stretch to close out the season where Justin Crawford cut the ground ball rate to 48.5%. And in those 20 games, he hit 364, hit 4 homers. That's a 979 OPS. So it shows, like, it's a small sample. I get it. Also in that span, he had a 94% in zone contact rate.
Come on.
If he can just trim that ground ball rate a little bit, he's a potential monster. So I think I'm taking that shot because even if he doesn't, he's going to put bat on ball. He's going to run. And at least I know he can get by in center field and should progress into good in center field. Whereas I think the ship may have sailed on Chandler Simpson, the center fielder.
Yeah. It seems like he is a below average left fielder right now that you just have at the bottom of your lineup to slap some singles around and hopefully steal 60 to 70 bases. But there's a world that Justin Crawford steals 60 bases at the major league level.
Yeah.
Does it in a leadoff spot, worst case scenario, same spot as Simpson in the 7 or 8 hole, and plays legit center field. So I'm team Justin Crawford if you are.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Okay. Cool. So Crawford goes 17. The number 18 pick originally of the Cincinnati Reds was Cam Collier. Good pick or bad pick at this point?
I mean, well, especially at the time, we couldn't believe he was falling. I think there was the signability concerns and the fact that the Reds were able to grab him where they grabbed him. He was a guy that was expected to go earlier. I think at the time, great pick. I don't think it's bad. He's battled some injuries. He's had flashes. It's ups and downs. I still think he could be a good hitter at the big league level, but the body's backed up a little bit. It looks like he may end up sliding over to first, but he's been productive enough. I don't think it's a bad pick.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just curious because, like, it seems like he's been bypassed by Sal Stewart to do the same thing. Could Collier play third base? It's just tough.
I'm surprised they didn't trade him, to be honest.
Yeah, he seems like trade bait at this point because I was just a little surprised that he was bypassed in his own organization. And, we still kind of view him as this, like, oh, you're a top prospect, at least the industry as a whole. If and when he gets traded, everybody's going to say, whoa, that's a good get for this team that he's got to, refine himself. He's got the bloodlines and all that. Yeah. I mean, first round pedigree for sure. but it just feels like his value has gone down year by year, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
Oh, 100%. And it's just like, I mean, he slugged 359 last year. He had 5 homers. It was a problem. But he also had,
Yeah.
underlying batted ball like figures that were exciting. He hit a ball 115 miles per hour last year. So like you see the flashes. And by the way, like because of how young he was and still is, like there's still a lot of reason to believe that he can figure it out. He popped 3 115s this past year, and he's going to be 21 years old for the entirety of the season. So still has time. I think still a decent prospect, but yeah, not quite the potential blue chipper that I think he once was looked at as.
Cole Young, Chandler Simpson, Noah Schultz. Where do you go?
So here's the Schultz thing. And I think like a knee thing affected him a little bit and his ability to throw strikes consistently. And it just wasn't as good this past year. But Schultz is still 22 years old. And that 2024 season, I mean, he struck out 34% of batters and walked 6%. Um, Sweeper, cutter, sinker, like it's a unique mix. He gets good ground, he gets a high ground ball rate. And if you move, if he can't stay healthy or he just doesn't handle the starter's workload because he won't stop growing and he's like 6'11" now, if you put that guy in out of the bullpen at nearly 7 feet tall, working down the mound with that pitch mix, like he's going to be a nightmare for lefties. He's got to figure out how to keep righties at bay. But he's going to be a nightmare for lefties. And I mean, the fallback is potentially a really good relief arm as well. Is that more valuable than some of the other archetypes of players we're looking at here?
I don't know. Can I throw you two wild cards here and you let me know? Based on that line of thinking, the fallback of being a really good reliever, could Ben Joyce be in play here or Orion
If he didn't
Kerkering
have
be in play
labrum
here?
surgery if he didn't have labrum
Okay.
surgery, yes.
Now,
But
could Kerkering and Kerkering's
Kerkering's
value,
interesting.
it looks a hell of a lot different because of that misfire in the DS. I will tell you
Yeah,
that. Orion
Kerkering's
Kerkering is a very, very good relief pitcher, and he should be viewed as such around Major League Baseball. Kerkering should be viewed, I think, on the same level as like a Jeremiah Estrada in San Diego.
yes,
This guy has
100%.
nasty stuff, fringe all-star caliber reliever every single year. So Kerkering, I think, enters the conversation here.
For sure, and I think he's worth considering. The difference is there's not even a pipe dream that Kerkering's a starter, a middle rotation starter, right? So
The totally fair. The other wild card that I wanted to entertain here. We just talked about Justin Crawford and how he makes a hell of a lot more sense over a Chandler Simpson. If I threw you a Victor Scott versus Chandler Simpson conversation right now, where do you go? Because
that's so
Victor
funny too because
Scott
they're like
really,
best
yeah, like
buddies.
he really struggled to hit. Yeah, and they're best friends. Victor Scott really struggled to hit. It was a 76 WRC plus, but depending where you look, he was a 1.5 to 2.5 win player. He was
Yeah,
2.2 B war. He was 1.7 F war. The eye test, he passes with flying colors. I had more fun watching him in center field than anybody not named Pete Crow Armstrong or Brenton Doyle. Like he was
that's
a
the thing. He's
joy
a
to
really good
watch.
defender.
him.
He's a really good defender to your point, and he's only going to get better out there. Like he seemed to get more and more comfortable as the year progressed. I mean, 17 outs above average, 12 defensive runs saved out there. And he just needs to not suck offensively, essentially, to
It's the Pat
provide more
Bailey
WAR.
conversation in the outfield.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and it is a good rebuttal. He really did suck offensively though, and I love Victor, but like, man, 598 OPS, but it can't be
But a
worse.
2-win player. Yeah, it can't be worse than a 2-win player when you're giving us a 598 OPS.
That is a good presentation. I think Cole Young's the interesting one too because Cole Young is 22, and I do
Yeah.
believe can be a really fun offensive player, and I think has the skill set to be that. But he was a 607 OPS this year in his first 74 big league games. I just I think Young also hit a ball 114 this year. What?
Huh.
I think Young is a guy that could break out. And if I refer back to how high I regard him as a prospect, the swing decisions are good. I find myself just still believing in Cole Young. He just really hit a wall at the end. Like his final 92 plate appearances, Young hit 145 with a 485 OPS, and I think felt the pressure of a team trying to, make a run there.
Yeah.
I may want to take a Cole Young shot here.
Okay. Cole Young versus Noah Schultz.
That's the other one. Where are you at? You have I feel like you've reserved the Noah Schultz thoughts so far, and I know it's a guy that we've talked a lot about on the show, but not as much recently.
We talked about it a little bit at the end of part one. It was just so bad in Charlotte, and that's not okay. I think a lot of people would look at a Rocky prospect coming up through Albuquerque or a Diamondback prospect coming up through Reno and saying, "Oh, you struggle, it's okay." People are too quick, I think, to clump Charlotte in with the PCL.
Yeah,
When you say, "Oh, well, it's a bandbox, of course pitchers are gonna struggle." All right, well, Noah Schultz probably shouldn't be posting the ERA that he did post. I think it was right around 5 in Charlotte
yeah,
this year.
and
What was it?
the bandbox doesn't make you more than double your walk rate, right? Like that's the yeah, maybe you nibble a little bit more, whatever it may be, but I mean, on the road he walked 16% of batters, so like
Yeah, and I
clearly,
mean, listen, it was 5 starts in Charlotte. In 16 and a third, it was 17 earned runs in
oh,
AAA.
yeah,
And he spent 12 starts in Birmingham, and it was a 3.3 ERA, but he was walking a lot of guys, and on the year was 73 innings at a 4.7. The other thing that works against Noah Schultz is the innings. You made that point, like
yeah,
88 in 2024, 73 in 2025. We haven't seen that guy sniff 100 innings yet.
no, no. So I'm with you. I think there's just a lot of risk baked in there. Let's roll with Cole Young. I he's sneaky a breakout guy for me in this coming season.
Okay. So Cole Young at 18. Let's push to 19 now. At 19th overall, the original 19th pick went to the A's, and it was Daniel Susac, the catcher from the University of Arizona. It just didn't work for Susac. Susac was a Rule 5 candidate this
Yeah,
year,
I
right?
honestly didn't even love him as a Rule 5 pick. I think we talked about that, but like, I just think he's a tweener across the board, and the defense has gotten so much better to the point that like he looks like he could potentially be above average there, so that really does help. But really aggressive, hit tools fringy, raw powers fringy. So we'll see. Could be a backup catcher. I don't think was a completely bad pick, but you know, it just hasn't really come together for him.
Yeah. I feel like we pushed the conversation to Noah Schultz versus Victor Scott versus Orion Kerkering. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, and I think like what if you're told, hey, like you talk to Noah Schultz, and this is just pure conjecture, but like, and Schultz says, yeah, like I just didn't feel like myself last year. Yeah, I was battling injuries and just couldn't find that release point, whatever. I'm eager to get back to 2024 me, which 2024 him, as we talked about, was a
Yeah.
2.64 ERA, 32% strikeout rate, and well, it's 92 innings if you include the postseason appearance as well. And a 6.8% walk rate. Like that's in there. That
And
wasn't
he
an
wasn't
accident.
hurt.
Oh,
He was
excuse me.
just
That's my
battered.
fault. I included the futures game in that. So it's
There
a
you go.
2.36 ERA. Because the futures game was a disaster. Um, 2.36
And he
ERA.
wasn't hurt. The White Sox were just kind of babying him. They were
Yes.
gearing him up. It was very short starts in 24. So yeah, if he told me that, I'm in. I'm like, you know what? I trust you, Noah. Let's go. So I think it's totally slam dunk to say Noah Schultz over Orion Kerkering. So now
I think
it
he
transitions
gets
into
one
Schultz.
mulligan, right? If we do this
Yeah.
draft midseason next year and it's more of the same from Schultz, I think we drop him, but I think a double A, triple A mulligan after pitching well in high A, double A, mostly double A in
Yeah.
2024, I think we give the kid a mulligan.
So are you team Schultz over Victor Scott?
I I
I
think
think
I
I
am.
still am.
I
Yeah.
think I am. Because
Okay.
if he comes out and he's back to 2024 version of himself, we're gonna be like, oh shit, we let Schultz slip too far in the
Yeah.
redraft. And if he's not, like, you still could be like, well, I still believe like he'll be
Yeah.
23. So like I think it wouldn't be entirely accurate, an entirely accurate representation of what I think teams would probably value if we let the 6'11 lefty who had the year he had in 2024 fall any further.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, let's push to number 20 here. The original number 20 overall pick of the Atlanta Braves was Owen Murphy. Injuries here. If there weren't injuries, Owen Murphy probably has a debut under his belt, probably before Didier Fuentes at the time that Fuentes got up. And I know that some beat reporters had a field day with Didier Fuentes, which was unfair and weird. But Owen Murphy, like good pick, I think still. And there's a chance that Owen Murphy goes at the end of that.
Yeah, that was unfair. Wentz was put in a really difficult spot, and he's going to be a good pitcher. I have
And he
little
was going
doubt
to get
about
him
it.
dunked on. I was
Yeah,
like, what? This is bizarre. What's going on?
yeah, that was bizarre. Um, Murphy's a good pick. I think if we do this redraft and by midseason next year, I think Murphy's a guy that would be going right around here, potentially even earlier. Still just 22 years old. Um, Crazy vert on the fastball. We've talked about it. It's like Javier-esque. He just came back off the TJ at the end of last year. The velo was a little bit down, but we saw the same thing with J.R. Ritchie, and then he scaled it up, and he turned in the year that he turned in this past year. I think we're going to see a similar progression with Murphy, and Murphy's another breakout guy for me next year. So like that's a guy that I might even try to float, before we're done with this exercise. So good pick. I think the Braves are going to get their value there.
Okay. Where do we go
Where
now?
do you stand on Chandler Simpson? Like, hey, he's become somewhat of like an Arias type of polarizing, where it's like that skill set is useless, and because he's fast, so it makes it a little bit more useful. But he also has the limited ability defensively, and it becomes like a new school versus old school conversation that doesn't really need to be had because like there's new school value to Chandler Simpson as well, especially in today's, running conducive landscape and today's world where base running is undervalued and now being more properly valued across the league, beyond just stolen bases.
Yeah, I am team Scott over Simpson personally at this point. But I'm also team Scott and Simpson over Kerkering at this point. The only other name that I want to throw you right now to enter another name into the mix is Ryan Clifford, 22
I'm
years old.
glad you mentioned him because this is another guy that could literally get up this year with the Mets and be like, it wouldn't blow my mind if he came up and was like, keeping himself in the rookie of the year conversation if it all comes together. He also might get up there and whiff too much and struggle. But this guy had one of the best power seasons we saw in the minor leagues last year. Not even just from a pure home run standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, age 21 season between AA and AAA, it was 140 games with 29 jacks and 93 driven in. And oh, by the way, he walked a ton, 237 with a 360 OBP. So, like, there are a lot of things to like here for New York. And I understand that Jorge Polanco is going to play some first base, and I get that Vientos is going to play some first base. There's a chance that Clifford's taking all the first base reps at some point this season, to your point, and then Polanco is just the DH and Vientos is somewhere else, and he's reincarnated as a starting pitcher for the New York Mets.
Well, and the funny thing with Clifford too is like, he actually successfully was able to fill in the corner a little bit. And like they started playing him more and more in a corner outfield where because he has a rocket for an arm and he can make like the catches he needs to make, I think he can grade out as neutral out there. And that's fine. By the way, also average exit velocity last year of 94.4 miles per hour. Now I understand this is the minor leagues, but like just for reference, Ohtani was 95 too. So like he hits the living crap out of the baseball, Clifford does. And EV90 of 108.5 miles per hour, hard hit rate of 57%. It was a tangible mechanical adjustment that we've talked about on the show that led to him elevating more, handling velocity better, all of that good stuff. And in his final 70 games, he only struck out 23% of the time. And as you mentioned, walked plenty. At 22 years old, he was 21 years old last year. I don't hate. And also he's just never going to face a lefty. And that's fine. Because now you start to more specifically put him into his role here. Yeah. And you say, well, okay, just go crush righties. And that's what we'll do. He had 876 OPS on the year against righties. I think Clifford could be a shot worth taking here. But there's a world where like his floor is lower for sure.
Yeah. Can you give me the average exit velocity again?
94.2 or 94.4.
94.4 was a tick ahead of Schwarber and James Wood. It's a tick under Giancarlo Stanton. And again, there's no rhyme or reason to the point that would correlate directly to Major League Baseball, but that's the kind of company that he was keeping. By the way, I hadn't done this. I was just looking at the average exit velocity leaderboard from last year. Minimum 100 batted balls. O'Neill Cruz, number 1, and obviously the top end is going to help him. Number 2, Aaron Judge. Number 3, Ohtani. Number 4, Yordan Alvarez. Number 5, Blank. Number 6, Stanton. Number 7, Schwarber. Who do you think number 5 is?
I'm assuming it's a young guy.
Yes, 174 batted ball events.
174.
Average exit velocity at 94.5.
Is he a left-handed hitter?
Yes.
Roman Anthony.
That's unbelievable that
That's
he's
actually
already in that
I
company.
didn't know it was that good.
That's crazy. Fifth in baseball, minimum 100 batted ball events in average exit velocity. When you look at 50th percentile exit velocity, it's again the average of your, top half of batted balls. Roman Anthony is up there again. Like,
He's gonna
damn,
be so
man,
good, man.
it's going to
He's
be
gonna be so
so
good.
stupid
I
good.
can't. I always am a proponent of selling the cards. Like if you don't want to hold on to it, and it's not in your personal, not a PC card. And I had his gold auto to 10 that I was or gold auto PSA 10 that I was holding on to forever. And I was like, I need the money in spring training this past year, and I sold it. And like, man, that may have been the one where it was okay to be greedy because this guy, whew, oh man, he's going to be really good for a long time. And
Next
I think
level.
it's a big part of why the Red Sox need some more bats, but I think you got to account for him potentially being like a top 10 hitter in the game if it all works out.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's jump to number
So we go
21
Clifford.
overall. Yeah, I think we solidified Clifford, right? I don't
Okay.
think we ever firmly said it.
No, but
So let's go
I
Ryan.
think we take that shot.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go Ryan Clifford at number 20 overall. Number 21 overall. The original pick was Cole Young of the Seattle Mariners. And we've already taken Cole Young. Cole Young went 18th in our redraft. Good pick by Seattle. I feel like Victor Scott has to go here now.
We've said a good pick by Seattle plenty of times, I think, in our life.
Yes.
But yeah,
What's his
I
name?
think
Scott Hunter. I think Scott Hunter runs a
yeah,
draft for them.
yeah, Victor Scott. I think the floor, like if he's a 620 OPS this year, which is crazy, he's probably over 2 WAR. If he's a 650 OPS, he could push closer to 3 WAR. So just from a WAR perspective, nobody else is guaranteeing that. That is left.
No one.
So I'm with that.
Cool. All right. We are going to get to the number 22 pick in a moment. But before that, I do want to tell you one final time about our friends at Visual Edge, because this sale is coming to a close very, very soon. And it is as good a sale as I've seen from a company like this in a long, long time. Before I get into the sale, I will tell you Visual Edge is an elite online sports vision training system that's used by Major League Baseball players, minor league, college, youth baseball players around the world. They help athletes train the visual side of performance. It's something players never train, yet they rely on every single pitch. They have more than 20 years of working with big league clubs to identify talent in the draft. Visual Edge tests virtually every hitter each year in the draft. All you got to do with Visual Edge, you start with the Edge test, which is a 15-minute online assessment measuring the 6 core visual processing skills that directly correlate with pitch recognition, with timing, with reaction speeds, plate discipline, clean decisions, and overall consistency at the plate. When these skills are weak, players can obviously struggle. Training is customized to each user based on their assessment score. It's a 15-minute session a couple of times per week, and it's all online on your own laptop or iPad. You got big league stars like Aaron Judge, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Tommy Edman, Nico Horner, all using this because they view it like you should. Weight training for your eyes and your brain. Before players go out and hit batting practice, they should be training their eyes just like you stretch before you lift. And for parents, they want better focus. They want more consistent performances and something measurable. Visual Edge gives them that. Data, objective scoring, training that improves performance, and a direct way to help kids get better. So if you want to hit better, recognize pitches faster, and make more confident decisions at the plate, Visual Edge is the place to start. Their biggest sale of the year concludes on New Year's Eve. It's 55% off all plans and subscriptions with code JUSTBASEBALL. All caps, one word. It's a great way to try the product if you're unsure about it, and it's a phenomenal holiday gift. You're listening to this on December 22nd, maybe December 23rd. If you procrastinated for your kiddo, for your young baseball player or softball player, get him Visual Edge, please. No extra hardware, no gimmicks, just real results proven to help your performance at the plate and on the field. Head to Visual Edge, visual with a Z, edge.com/sign up and use code JUSTBASEBALL for 55% off and to get started today. So let's jump into 22. The original number 22 overall pick, Cooper Jerpy. of the St. Louis Cardinals. And I'll hold my hand up and take the L on this one because I remember during our draft stream at the time, I was like, this guy's going to be first to the big leagues. I'm in on that. Everything he did at Oregon State said, okay, you're weird. You throw with your left hand. You're a strike thrower. You've got, somewhat nasty stuff, at least good
Yeah.
stuff right now. Like, I thought he was a shoo-in to just fly through the minor leagues. Why hasn't it happened for him yet? It just
He
seems
hasn't been
like
able to stay
everything's gone
healthy.
awry.
He hasn't been able to stay healthy. The stuff is played, man. I mean, you look at the 13 appearances he made in 2024 and, huge in zone whiff numbers, 36% strikeout rate, opponents at 175 against him. Like, it's weird, and it's weird that works, but if you're not on the mound, it can't work, right? So I think that's the most frustrating part. I still think there's a world where Jerpy's, a solid big league left-handed reliever, but we didn't get to see him throw it all last year. And he was limited by injury in 2024, so that just seems to be the theme with him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Simpson enters the next batch, I guess. The other names
Yeah,
around him, Jacob Reimer, the Mets, Demetrio Crisantes, the Diamondbacks prospect, Orion Kerkering. Then you get into like Parker Messick of the Guardians, Hayden Birdsong of the Giants, Troy Melton of the Tigers. Like, there are a lot of different sort of sexy ways that you can go here.
So here's my thought exercise. Forget, like, I don't even think years of control would matter. If anything, you would actually tack on more years of control. If the Phillies were shopping Orion Kerkering, would he net you a prospect as good as Jacob Reimer, Demetrio Crisantes, or better or worse?
I think yes. I think at least that good, maybe
Yeah.
better if you're looking for a one-for-one swap. Orion Kerkering, and this is honestly where I kind of get into the contract structure where like he's got 4 years of control. You're
Well,
getting
so, and
4
I think
years
in
of
this thought exercise, for it to be accurate, it would actually be 6. You would have to
right.
have.
So you've got 6 years of control of a guy that has given you a career ERA right around 3. In 23 in his debut, it was 3 innings, a 1-run ball. In 24, it was 63 innings at a 2.29, and then
Yep.
it was 60 innings at a 3.3 this year.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was the thought exercise that put me on, I think, going Kerkering here, because it ain't easy to find guys like this, out of the pen, with that kind of stuff and being able to perform at that level. I do think, a team would trade a Reimer or Crisantes for, a Kerkering. So I think this is the Kerkering spot.
Okay, cool. I also think that you would trade like a Parker Messick or a Hayden Birdsong for Kerkering. I
Yes.
also don't think that's a terrible deal for Philly. Philly, it's tough because they should love Kerkering and they should hold on to him because again, he's a very, very good reliever. He's one of the better young relievers in baseball. But if they feel like that fan base can never recover from what happened, like Kerkering would be loved in San Francisco. Kerkering would be loved in so many other markets, man.
Well, they moved to Kerkering. Seems like a great dude, and they traded the first like middle reliever with like clubhouse issues already. So I think they made their their optics move already out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
But
seems like it. So
yeah, so I love Kerkering 22.
cool. Let's go Kerkering at 22. 23, the original pick. Brandon Barrera of the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a loaded conversation.
Yeah, it just hasn't been healthy. And that's really what it boils down to. Hasn't been healthy. Got the TJ. Let's hope he comes back healthy. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's really it.
Oh well.
Very talented.
Okay. Yeah, super talented it seems, but no, I mean you had like the body backed up on him right away,
Yep.
and then it was TJ. Like it was a little weird. Just everything that went into that.
Yes.
And it's funny how much the public's perception of the Blue Jays pitching development has changed since then.
Yes.
When Barrera went down, we were like,
that's why I was about to go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, but actually it's better now. So that gives me some optimism, maybe.
Yeah. So we'll see. Okay, here, where you want to go?
We got still Sam Simpson on the board. Like, would you rather have the bird in hand of Chandler Simpson, or would you rather take the shot on a Jacob Reimer who offers, plus power potential, top 100 guy for us? Crisantes, who was out the whole year with the shoulder surgery, but like this guy rakes. And I've tried to remind people that and he's gonna be 21 years old for the entirety of this upcoming season. And when he has been on the field, he rakes. And you hope that it's just the one injury, you put it behind him. And those 45 games in 2024 was plus contact rates, good swing decisions, hits the ball in the air consistently. Um, it is a second base profile. He played a little bit of third too, but so there's a little limiting. But like Reimer's either a iffy third base or a first baseman. And then we've already talked about Chandler Simpson's defense. So I don't know. Where are you at?
I think I'd take Simpson. I don't think that he can fall any further because, again, he hit north of 290 and he swiped all those bags in the big leagues. Like, if this guy plays 162 in the big leagues, he's going to give you 50 stolen bases.
Okay.
I want to see him play 150 games to just see what the WAR total is, and then
He can't be worse. He won't get worse defensively. I don't know how much better he'll get, but he won't get worse.
We'll see. So, yeah, I think I go Simpson at 23. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go Simpson at 23. A couple more here. 24th overall, original pick of the Boston Red Sox. Mikey Romero, high school shortstop at Orange Lutheran in California. I feel like there was very little known about Mikey Romero at time of the draft. What's kind of gone into Mikey Romero over the last couple of years?
He honestly, he looks like a fine piece. He's developed pretty well, from a power perspective in that system. I think he could kind of be a trade bait guy, but left-handed hitter with pretty even splits, plus raw power that you started to get into a little bit more. I think it's a fine selection. He's can play a little second, can play a little third, but the swing decisions have to improve. And there are some swing and miss concerns, but he hits the ball hard and he hits it in the air, and could carve out a big league role for yourself.
Yeah, Jacob Reimer or Crisantes or Messick or Melton or Birdsong or Hunter Barco or Chase Mydroth. All of these guys are starting to blend together. Do you think Chase Mydroth should be clumped in with that group? If you were offered Mydroth for Jacob Reimer, I assume you're saying no.
I'd say I'd rather have Reimer. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Because Mydroth has to be so perfect to be good. And I think
which is how I feel on the mound about Messick.
Yes, and that's why I'm nervous about Messick. I mean, look how many hits Messick gave up. I know he prevented runs, but it's such a small sample, and he gave up a lot of hits. What was like a 1.3 whip?
I think so. It was high.
So perfect. So I agree.
The only one that Reimer, yes, the only one that I could present a counterpoint for is Troy Melton.
He was awesome.
Melton was awesome, and Melton apparently the makeup is top notch. Like, they feel like this guy is an elite competitor, and it just seems like somebody that would be hard to pry away from Detroit on the trade market. When you look at Troy Melton and say, oh, you've got promise, you can absolutely go net them a decent bat. I don't think they want to do that.
No, I don't think so either. And it's kind of similar to the Kerkering conversation, right? Where it's like, he hasn't done it as much at the big league level as a reliever. I don't think he misses quite as many bats, but also Melton could start still. Like, I don't think he could be a unique swingman type of piece for them. So, and we did see like some quality starts last year. So I think Melton has a strong case here too. Yeah, I think it's Reimer, Melton, or Crisantes.
I vote Reimer here and then Melton at 25.
I like it. Let's do that.
Okay. So Melton will go at 25. Troy Melton, currently the Detroit Tigers, the original 25th overall pick. New York Yankees took Spencer Jones, the outfielder out of Vanderbilt. Jones is not going to go in this. And I understand that the numbers looked really good in 2025. But whenever I watched a video of him swinging, I was like, dude, I feel like you need to go to the chiropractor and then a massage therapist. And I didn't really comprehend what was happening in the box for Spencer Jones. And he's not untouchable. He's not getting traded for Paul Skeens. I don't really understand what's going on with Spencer Jones at this point.
I think the league showed you how it feels about high whiff guys. Like, there's just a threshold that, like, if you can't get through, like, if you're below 75% zone contact, you have to be perfect to be productive. And there's guys that goes to perfect and they're productive, right? And like, that's how like a Kyle Schwarber is able to do what he does. But although his zone contact has gotten better, The swing decisions aren't good for Jones. And I think that is limiting for sure. I just don't think it's gonna work. So I think when you saw that with Murakami, like I think the league just sees if you have an in zone whiff rate north of 30%, it's almost impossible. And then you combine that with the chase rate north of 30%, challenges against spin. I wouldn't risk it. I would value, most of these guys over Spencer Jones. So yeah, it's not a terrible pick. Again, I love the pick at the time. I thought the bat to ball would come along a little bit more than it has. And
Yeah.
when I see a different stance every week too, like that doesn't usually make me feel good either.
It's not great. Okay, 26th overall. Noah Schultz went to the Chicago White Sox. We already have Noah Schultz going at 19th overall. So, really good pick by the Chicago White Sox. He was a 6'8 high school lefty out of suburban Chicagoland. So, they stayed local with that pick. New 26. Is this where you go Demetrio Crisantes, or do you start to entertain a Messick or a Hunter Barco?
I like those guys. I like Barco more than Messick too. I think the more I've just thought about it, but
let me throw you one more. Do you like Zebby Matthews more than Parker Messick?
Zebby's an interesting one too. I feel like he's just kind of overlooked and underrated, but there's also the question of like, will Zebby miss enough bats? I do think it's tough because you have Zebby Matthews 25 starts now at a 5.92 ERA, but he strikes guys out. His problem is similar where it's like, okay, is he going to miss enough? Like, is he going to avoid hits enough? But he gets the strikeout. So it gives me a little bit of confidence. It's like how much you want to put into the 7-game sample of Parker Messick? That's the big question.
I just don't know because there are a couple of ways that you can do that. To your point, like you can look at it from a run prevention point and skew the sample in a positive direction, or you can look at the whip and the hits against him and you skew that in a negative direction. So it is a question. How much do you want to look at the elongated big league stretch and sporadic success of Hayden Birdsong? But there's been probably too much failure here to take him over other options. The other one, I firmly in AA, but like Jackson Ferris of the Dodgers.
He's interesting as well. Can't fully rule him out.
Kumar Rocker at this point.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. I love Crisantes.
Yeah.
So let's buy ourselves one more spot here and then stress out.
Cool.
I'm a
that works for me. So
he's gonna go nuts this year. Book it.
Demetrio Crisantes goes 26th in our redraft. 27. We've got 4 more picks to work with. The original 27 was Eric Brown Jr. of the Milwaukee Brewers. Really good defender, but never really figured out his swing, right?
No, and injuries just derailed him. It's been a shame. I hope he can stay on the field this coming season, but it's been really tough for Eric. You know, there was a stretch where it looked like he was putting it together, and just again, I think that the health has been a big issue.
Yeah, I understand. This is where we can start to stretch or start to stress because Crisantes just went 26th. Now where do we go at 27? So Messick, Birdsong, Barco.
I also like Jack Perkins, man.
Jack Perkins of the A's, Mydroth, Zebby Matthews of the Twins, Jackson Ferris, Owen Murphy. God.
I'm a Jack Perkins truther. And I mean,
give me the pitch.
Perkins, his fastball just dominates within the zone. And I thought we saw that at the big league level. He's this Swiss Army knife to where like I still think he can start, but if not, like you put him in leverage, he can be really effective in leverage and multi-inning relief there. When we talked about the A system, he just got lowered the arm angle a bit, started throwing a ton more strikes, kind of like the MI conversation, and it created more perceived ride from that angle. The sweeper is a plus pitch. He's got a cutter at like 93 to 94 that can chew hitters up, and then he mixes in a changeup. I think Perkins can be anywhere from a middle rotation arm to a relief arm, and I think that's part of the intrigue is you don't know which, and health is a little bit of a question, but I really like the way he closed out the year too. They transitioned him back into a starter role, and I thought he put together a couple good starts, but the command is obviously a question, and that could be the limiting component. But I'd bet on his stuff more than Zebby's. I would bet on his stuff more than Messick's.
And the overall production at very hitter-friendly environments, You sold me on Perkins. So let's go Jack Perkins at 27th overall. 28th overall, the original pick of the Houston Astros was Drew Gilbert, and it's not a bad pick. I think for a minute there, we looked at it as a really good pick, and then he was part of that Verlander return, and then we looked at it as, oh, this is souring quickly. He's not that big, not that strong, and then he's part of that Tyler Rogers deal, and he gets up to San Francisco at the end of the year, and they were gritty enough, and Gilbert was a decent part of that, and like, obviously he's kind of a showman in the dugout, biting Robbie Ray's sleeve and all that stuff, but Gilbert put together like a serviceable time in the big leagues over the last 4 to 6 weeks of the season. So it's not like a bad pick by Houston, and it got him Verlander.
Yeah, no, not at all. It got him Verlander, obviously helped them in a lot of big ways. And he's still going to be a big leaguer, and he already is a big leaguer, but he's still going to be a guy that hangs around in the big leagues. Whether it's more of a fourth outfield role or bulk platoon, but I think there's late in the first, pretty good selection there.
Cool. Now, can I petition for who did I want to petition for? I think I wanted to petition for Barco at this point.
For Barco? I mean, yeah. I think he's just unique enough. Another guy that's like gonna have a great chance to land as a lefty reliever. But the other interesting thing is like Mydroth did grade out as a pretty good defender. Like, or at least they played him a lot at short, and he was fine there. So the fact that he could play both is interesting. And he did turn in a 1.3 F4. Where was he on B-WAR?
Mydroth was probably better on B-WAR.
So, like, are we undervaluing Chase Mydroth?
1.3 B-WAR.
Yeah, about the same both ways.
We probably are undervaluing Mydroth.
14 bags. Do we go Mydroth here?
We go Mydroth if we can come to a conclusion that Barco goes ahead of Parker Messick and Birdsong already.
Yes. Because I think, and I know it's organizational right now, but like if the Pirates were offered Mydroth for Barco, I think they'd do it.
I think they would do it. Now, obviously, actually, I don't know because they just got Brandon Lau and like
that part obviously changes.
They have so many goddamn second basemen too.
Let's remove that variable. I think before the Brandon Lau trade, I think they do that.
I think they do that too because at least Mydroth could like plug in at short. So
yeah. Well, I just think in a vacuum I would do that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go Mydroth at 28.
Okay.
So Chase Mydroth goes 28th. 29th, it sounds like we're going to go Hunter Barco, but we can have a conversation about some other guys. The original 29th overall pick of the Tampa Bay Rays was Xavier Isaac. It's a good pick, really scary situation that I didn't see until, the other week or so?
Yeah, like last week. But, he had come out and he was injured, right? And we always talk about him in the minor leagues, you don't, and he had dealt with other injuries. You don't really know what's going on, and we hadn't really got an update, and it was because he had much more important things in baseball going on. And Isaac, unfortunately, had to undergo brain surgery to remove, I believe it was something from his brain. So like the fact that like he underwent brain surgery and came back from all that and should be good to go this coming season is incredible. But also just Isaac, the player, like guy has elite power. If you've listened to this show over the last couple of years, like, that that's a guy that we've always been really high on, a guy that I really like. And I've never met him, but I've heard nothing but great things from his teammates or people in the org about him. And I mean, what a resilient dude to come back from that. And he's gonna be ready to go, I think, to start this upcoming season. But I mean, the whole rehab, like, it had to be crazy. And just glad he's first and foremost okay, and able to just be Xavier Isaac, but secondary, that he can get back on the baseball field, because we always talk about it. He put on one of the best performances in that spring breakout game that I've seen from a hitter in a long time.
And to be honest with you, man, like I really don't think it's not a conversation starter to say why couldn't Isaac just go at 29th, because even when he was on the field in Montgomery at the beginning of the year, 41 games with 9 homers, he hit 201, but at a 366 on base. So he was walking a ton. The OPS was still over 800. As a 21-year-old in Double-A.
I mean, I would consider taking him still. We're talking about
there's a lot of unknown.
Yeah, life unknown stuff here, and like who fully knows there? But yeah, he was productive, and you imagine that if he had to undergo brain surgery, probably he was dealing with some of those things,
of course,
as he was playing and still producing. So I mean, what a resilient dude. Really excited to see him back on the field. And I mean, in a normal setting without that variable, he's in the top 20 picks for me. I mean, like probably right around where we took Clifford or ahead of him. Well,
Yeah.
I've always been, such a big fan of the way he impacts the baseball, his swing, and everything that comes with it.
Yeah. All right, let's go Hunter Barco here. I feel good about taking Barco over guys like Hayden Birdsong again. Zebby Matthews, Kumar Rocker are the ones that jump out to me in this group. But we can open up that conversation for the 30th and final pick that we're going to do. The original 30th and final pick of the first round was Reggie Crawford to San Francisco. He was going to be Shohei Ohtani, but now he's not Shohei Ohtani, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and then he's just had the arm issues, shoulder surgery, and a couple other. I think Tommy John. He's had different issues. I still think that guy could be a nasty left-handed reliever. I hope he comes back healthy this year for the Giants. And I don't think they'll waste many bullets in the minor leagues. Also, awesome dude. Like, really enjoyed speaking with him a couple years ago at spring training.
Yeah.
Easy to root for. Still could be a good, leverage left-handed relief arm. I'm not going to count a physical freak like him out.
Yeah. Pick one. Messick, Birdsong, Kumar Rocker, Zebby Matthews, Carson Milbrand of the Marlins is probably outside this conversation looking in. Ben Joyce with a shoulder issue is on the outside looking in. Jackson Ferris, Owen Murphy. Jace Young is probably on the outside looking in. The other one is Jordan Beck, who is probably going to play close to every day for the Colorado Rockies. The question is just how good is Jordan Beck?
Yeah. Beck is a tough one.
Let's say a name on three.
Wait, okay, hold on. Let me prepare.
Let me prepare too.
This is stressful, but I think I got it.
Okay, hold on. Give me 5 more seconds.
Yeah, honestly, I keep going back and forth.
All right, I have my answer locked in.
You have your answer? Okay, I need 5 more seconds.
Okay.
I just looked at 2 different guys whose velo dropped as the season progressed, so that's great. All right, I'm gonna let it rip.
3, 2, 1. Jackson
Kumar
Ferris.
Rocker. Ooh. You go Jackson Ferris?
Yeah, I went Jackson Ferris.
Ooh, you're betting upside.
I'm betting upside. I'm also betting on a 21-year-old, spent the entire year in AA, held his own in AA, and, dealt with some walk issues. The ERA was in the high 3s, but, this guy's stuff.
He's throwing innings. He's been throwing innings out there.
Dude. He logs a ton of innings. So I go upside there, but I appreciate the safety of a big leaguer right now. I eliminated Birdsong quickly.
Yeah, the more you look.
Messick quickly following that. And then I got down to Rocker versus Zebby versus Ferris, and I settled on Ferris.
I like the shot of Ferris. You're getting a 6'4" lefty. He's going to be 22 years old, as you mentioned, for the entirety of the season, and can eat innings. At worst, if the stuff doesn't fully come together, you assume the command comes along a little bit more, and he could be a back-end rotation guy. So, I'm with taking the shot on Ferris. He needs to throw more strikes, but give him another year to do that.
Give him another year. Give him the year in Oklahoma City. Why can't he pass up some of the guys that are sitting in Oklahoma City right now for the Dodgers? They've got a billion of them. And Rocker, there was just.
I'm so worried about the health too, man. He's had so many arm issues and
and at a certain point, he was a 1-pitch pitcher, and that just scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of relief risk there for sure.
Okay. So that concludes our round. I'm not going to give you the original pick. I'm just going to read through quickly 1 through 30 that we have, and then we'll send you off into not your Christmas, because I think
we got a lot of trades to catch up on, a lot of prospects changing hands that we'll catch up on in the last episode before the holiday.
Yes. So you guys will definitely do that. But our redraft is complete. We got Roman Anthony at 1, Zach Neto, Drake Baldwin, Jacob Mizorowski, Jackson Holiday, Cam Schlittler, Cade Horton, Jacob Marcy, Sal Stewart, Robbie Snelling went 10. 11 was Chase DeLauder, Jonah Tong 12th, Dylan Beavers 13, Dalton Rushing 14, Jet Williams 15, and then 16 through 30. 16 was Alex Freeland, 17 Justin Crawford, 18 was Cole Young, Noah Schultz 19, Ryan Clifford 20, 21 Victor Scott II, 22 Orion Kerkering, 23, Chandler Simpson. 24, Jacob Reimer. 25, Troy Melton of the Tigers. 26, Demetrio Crisantes, the Diamondbacks prospect. 27, Jack Perkins of the A's. 28, the White Sox Chase Mydroth. 29, Hunter Barco. And 30, Dodger prospect Jackson Ferris. That's our redraft.
Love it. I love it. Let me know what you guys would have done in the YouTube comments. Of course, we'll be talking about it in the Discord. We already had some good conversation in there as well, which, by the way, the link to join is in the episode description. If you're looking for all of the breakdowns of the trades, very much looking forward to doing that. We'll do that on the next episode, so keep an eye out for that in the next couple of days. As always, thank you for listening. If you don't catch us before the holiday, even though we're going to put out one more episode, have a great holiday, and we'll talk soon.